Welcome to Tell Me More, the Allsteel podcast where design meets innovation and we explore the limitless potential of workspaces. In this exclusive series, we're peeling back the layers of workplace design. From the psychology of colors to the future of hybrid work, join us as we open doors to conversations with industry leaders, architects, and designers who redefine the modern workplace. This is Tell Me More, brought to you by Allsteel, because when it comes to designing the future, there's always more to discover.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our episode today of Tell Me More. I'm Dr. Lauren Gant, your host, and I'm thrilled to take you along for a conversation that blends inspiration with real human connection. For the second year in a row, Allsteel is proud to partner with TEDx Chicago 2025. In the lead up to their event, themed The Future is Human, we opened our showroom as a rehearsal space for this year's speakers. While they prepared, we had the privilege of sitting down with three incredible women and TEDx speakers who are each shaping the way we think and connect. Together, we explored themes of authentic communication, the magic of humor, and the transformative power of social connections. In this episode, we'll first hear from Dr. Mack, a community psychologist, who will share insights on the importance of genuine interactions in our digital-first world. Dr. Mack will explore how authentic communication can build trust and foster meaningful relationships, both personally and professionally. Next, we'll join comedian and writer Natasha Pearl Hansen. Natasha will take us on a journey through the transformative power of humor and storytelling. She'll reveal how vulnerability and authenticity can reshape narratives and connect us with others in profound ways. Finally, we'll sit down with Nisaini Rexach, a public affairs professional at Microsoft. Nisaini will share her inspiring journey of leveraging social capital and mentorship to advance her career. She'll discuss how building networks and fostering communication can lead to professional growth and success. Each of these conversations offers unique perspectives on how we can navigate our personal and professional lives with authenticity and purpose. So sit back, relax, and let's dive in. Hi, Dr. Mack. Thank you so much for doing this with me. I just got to listen to a preview of your TED Talk, and I'm in love with with the content, with you. I would love, could you just introduce yourself for our audience?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that compliment. I am Dr. Mack, and I am a community psychologist.
That's great. I would love to ask you about a couple things regarding communication. You had a great quote in your podcast. I'm going to read it. It said, "The future has to be full of people talking to each other."
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit more about that in the advent of our digital first world that we're living in?
Right. So I have the privilege of being an 80s baby, and I think that we're the great liaisons, right? We're rotary dial all the way to the creation of everything, including social media. So we know what it feels like to talk to people in class and have recess and have conversations and maybe talk around the dinner table. It was a lot of talking because you didn't have access to all of this information. You didn't have access to what you should be comparing yourself to and things that you think you should be doing in lives that you think you should be living, relationships you think you should have. So that was where you had organic thought, where you had imagination, where you had creativity, because it wasn't handheld. And specifically in my community, in the Black community, if someone had great food at a restaurant, if there's a great hairstylist or a cleaner, somebody told you that.
Yeah.
You didn't go to a Yelp review or, Google to tell you that somebody's restaurant was worth you trying, and you did not try the restaurant because a computer told you it wasn't good, right?
Yeah.
So when I think about the importance of people talking to people, it's where you develop authentic relationships. And in a world of fake everything, that is where the real thing is. You're talking to the real thing.
Yeah.
It's a person.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody you can trust.
Right.
Yeah. And in our work, in my work, I talk a lot about psychological safety in the workplace. How do we show up being more of our whole true selves in work? And how do we sort of show who we are at work, if that's possible? Do you have any thoughts about how we get better about authentic communication?
I think that I've been blessed to have an opportunity to be in leadership in a lot of different spaces. My own nonprofit entrepreneurship, being in adjunct work, being a part of the city's government. And I think because I lead authentically, My staff, my colleagues, my mentees, they're authentic with me.
You model it.
People can feel fake energy, and then they automatically know what parts of them not to show. We do it to our children. We do it to our relatives. So, of course, we do it at work. And sometimes we tolerate inauthenticity so much that that's just the culture of the office.
Right.
So when somebody doesn't have the numbers or can't make the deadline or really is sick, they're so used to code switching to the point of fakeness that we can't actually run the program. We can't complete the project. It's not going to be as excellent as it would be if we were all just being authentic with each other, truly accommodating each other, truly understanding work-life balance and the human experience, and saying, how can we collectively make our work excellent? We know that it's going to take time, effort, and anything else that we know this work will take. That's why we are in it. But if we are doing it in truth and we have authentic human beings as our bosses, and we're being authentic human beings as other people's bosses, we can actually do some good stuff together.
That's amazing. Yes, I love that authenticity.
Why is
and
that
modeling.
word so hard?
Authenticity. We'll practice it. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Best of luck next week at TED.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. I just got to listen to your practice for TED next week.
Yeah.
I loved it. It was amazing. Can you please introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
Yes. Hi. I'm Natasha Pearl Hansen. I'm a comedian and actress and now a TEDx speaker. Done a lot of podcasting, pretty much everything that falls under the comedy umbrella, writing, all that stuff I do.
Amazing. So what I took away from your talk was really about humor and how we can change our narrative using humor and really use it to sort of alter our viewpoint or maybe get back on our feet. Can you talk a little bit about how humor might impact the way we communicate with others, or maybe how storytelling can help us communicate better with others?
Yeah, I mean, even in my comedy, I'm very much a storytelling comedian. Like when people ask, what's your shtick? I'm like, I never know how to answer that. Like I really talk about my own personal experience and make it relatable for others. Like the whole point is to make people feel less bad about the bad stuff they go through or do. You know, that's the connective tissue, in my opinion, is to ease that feeling of people like, my life is bad. I'm doing everything wrong. Nobody else is going through this experience. I'm totally alone. And being like, well, step one, that's not true.
Yeah.
And, you know, and then building around story. And that's why I use stories so heavily in this TED Talk, because that's how I naturally communicate. And and I'm curious about other people and I want to draw stories out of them.
I think what was so compelling about the way you speak was that you were being so vulnerable, but you were making sure that we knew you were okay too. It was really easy to connect with that part of you, I think. Can you talk a little bit about maybe vulnerability or authenticity and how you communicate?
Absolutely. So, I mean, I opened talking about how I shot my first comedy special on my canceled wedding day. For me, there was multiple reasons for that. Number one, I didn't want the day to be bad. You know, everyone had already put the day aside, and my family and my best friends and their families that I grew up with, I was like,
you already had a venue.
Yeah. And we were on contract, and I was like, we have to flip this into something positive, because otherwise it's just a day that feels bad. We were like, oh, a Saturday. We were supposed to go to a wedding. Now what are we going to? So number one, it's, flipping that narrative. And number two, vulnerability doesn't have to be heavy. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people are afraid of it because they're like, if I tell people what I actually am like or what I'm going through, it's going to weigh heavily on them. But if you decide to lean into other areas of that, you can share things and then break it with humor, or humor can be used in vulnerability. It's a very powerful tool combined. And I do that a lot in my stand-up, so it just became very natural to focus on these vulnerable moments that I maybe don't talk about in my stand-up in this talk.
Yeah, it's really great. You're super brave to be so vulnerable and authentic, and I think a lot of people are benefiting probably from that.
I hope so. That's the point. I hope so.
Well, good luck next week, and thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us today.
Yes, of course. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming. I'm glad to be able to pick your brain a little bit. I just got to listen to your practice of a TED Talk, and I am blown away. So could you please introduce yourself and give us a little bit of background about what you do and where you come from?
Yes, happy to. Thanks so much for having me. I'm Nisaini Rexach. I am a Chicago native, originally from the Humboldt Park community. Currently work at Microsoft, and I am in public affairs.
Great. And so if I may summarize your talk, what I took away from it was really about social capital and building networks and mentoring, and how do we use our network, our communication to really foster development, foster communication, get out ahead. Does that feel fair?
Yes, feels fair. And it was really sort of unpacking how I got to where I am, even in my current role. I never had to apply through the direct talent application system because every role I've had in my professional career came from my network. Mm-hmm. People saying, hey, this would be good for you, referring me, identifying an opportunity, and then I landed each of those jobs, getting me to where I am today.
Yeah, I wrote down this quote, your brand is in the room even when you're not. That struck home. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes, my longest standing coach, Caesar, who he has been with me for 14 years. He told me that 14 years ago, and it really shaped the way that I think about any brand, any sort of consumer product. When you're loyal to that brand, people are talking about what it brings to the table, whether you're using it or not, how we show up in different places. If your career is going to be lackluster or illustrious, a lot of it comes down to what are people saying when you're not around.
Yeah. We've been talking a lot about mentorship too in the workplace, and how important mentorship is, not just for young employees or new employees, but really for everyone in the space. Can you talk a little bit about your philosophy about mentorship?
Yes, I'm really big on mentorship. I did not get where I am right now without mentors. I have 2 long-standing mentors that have been with me for a decade plus. I have others sprinkled in that have opened doors for me, invited me to different tables I never would have had a seat at. Mm-hmm. And so it's been an anchor in who I am. The more upward mobility I have, I'm going to bring people with me. And in my talk, you saw Paige. She's newer in her career, and I thought the best way to show you is to bring you with me.
Yeah.
So she comes to every table I get to sit at, and she's doing it at an accelerated pace than where I was at her age. And to me, that's success.
Yeah.
I want my journey to be her shortcut. I want her to surpass where I've been able to go faster.
And I would imagine, I would guess, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I would guess that Paige is no slouch either. She's bringing things to the table. She's pulling her weight. It's not only you speaking good about her when she's not in the room as well.
Yes, it's a reciprocal relationship, and that nod to social wealth being like a portfolio, I'm reaping dividends. Each investment I make in her, it quite literally feels like a blank check that's going to be cashed any moment.
That's beautiful. That's great. Well, thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with us today. I wish you the best of luck next week at TED, and I hope to talk to you in the future.
Thank you. I hope that if you're not there, that you'll tune in and watch us.
We sure will. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on Tell Me More. For more insights and stories, subscribe on Apple Podcast and Spotify, and connect with us on social at Allsteel. See you next time.